Welcome to The Explainer. You've probably heard someone say, "Oh, I'm so OCD about my desk." But what does that actually mean? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that stereotype and really look at the hidden, powerful cycle that drives obsessive-compulsive disorder.
Okay, let's start with something I think we've all felt. You know that feeling when you get a thought stuck in your head? Maybe it's a song on repeat or a worry you just can't let go of? That little experience, that's our starting point. Because for someone with OCD, that isn't just an annoying moment. No, it's the very beginning of a really tough, debilitating cycle.
So, that looping thought, that brings us right to the first piece of the puzzle, the O in OCD, the obsession. And we have to get this right. This is not your garden variety worrying. We're talking about something that feels totally different, like an alien thought, something powerful that just barges in and causes a ton of distress.
Look at the words here: unwanted, intrusive. These are absolutely key. An obsession isn't a thought you're mulling over on purpose. Think of it more like a mental home invader. It just shows up, completely uninvited, and you feel like you have zero control over it. And with it comes this huge wave of anxiety.
Okay, so when that anxiety hits, and I mean really hits, the brain goes into full-on panic mode. It's desperately looking for the emergency brake, right? The off switch. And that frantic search for relief? Well, that leads us straight to the C in OCD, the compulsion.
Now, it's so important to understand this. Compulsions are not comforting habits. They're not things people enjoy doing. They are rigid, repetitive, almost robotic actions that are fueled by one thing: a desperate need to shut down the anxiety from the obsession. The goal isn't happiness, it's just relief, even for a second.
So here's the core connection, the real engine of OCD. It's a cause and effect relationship. The obsession is the if. If this terrible thought is here, I feel anxious. And the compulsion is the then. Then I must do this action to make the anxiety go away. One directly feeds the other. It's a lock and key.
And this right here, this is the vicious cycle in a nutshell. It's like a hamster wheel. The obsession pops up, which cranks up the anxiety. That anxiety becomes unbearable, so you perform the compulsion. You get a little hit of relief. But here's the trap. The relief is temporary. The obsession isn't gone, so it just comes roaring back, and the wheel starts spinning all over again, sometimes even faster.
Okay, so let's be real. We all have our little quirks, right? Maybe you double-check the stove, or have a specific way you organize your books. So what's the difference between that and a clinical disorder? Where's the line?
Getting a diagnosis isn't just about ticking a box that says has obsessions. It's all about the impact. Look at that phrase, severe disturbance. That's the key. We're talking about when this cycle gets so big, so powerful, that it starts to wreck your daily life, your job, your relationships, your ability to just function. And if you want a really concrete measure, here it is. Think about this. When the battle in your head, the obsessions, the compulsions, starts eating up more than an hour of your day, every single day, that's when it crosses a major line. That's a huge chunk of your life stolen by this cycle. And this is why it's so important to take it seriously. I mean, despite all the jokes you hear, OCD is a real illness, and it affects millions. We're looking at about 1.2% of adults over their lifetime. But check this out. For kids and teenagers, that number can jump to 3%. So no, this isn't some rare, bizarre thing. It's actually pretty common. For many people, the story of OCD starts really early, often in childhood. But it's usually not a sudden thing. It's more like a slow burn. The symptoms kind of build up over time, year after year, until things get serious enough for a diagnosis, which on average happens somewhere in a person's early 20s to mid-30s.
So okay, we've seen how powerful this cycle is. The big question, the most important question really, is how do you break it? How do you get off that hamster wheel? The good news is you can. There are some really effective ways to fight back.
The treatments are brilliant because they go right for the weak link in the chain. Take something called response prevention. It's basically about teaching yourself to sit with that awful anxiety from an obsession and just not do the compulsion. It's like standing in the rain without opening your umbrella. At first it's terrible, but eventually you realize the rain will stop on its own. Your brain learns that the anxiety will fade without the ritual, and that right there is how you break the cycle's power.
And therapy isn't the only tool in the toolbox. Medication can be a huge help. A lot of the time, doctors will prescribe certain types of antidepressants. The idea is that these can help balance out your brain chemistry, specifically serotonin, which seems to be involved. Think of it like turning down the volume on the anxiety. It doesn't fix the problem on its own, but it can make it a whole lot easier to do the hard work in therapy.
All right, for our last piece here, let's zoom out a bit. It's really helpful to know that OCD isn't a lone wolf. It's actually part of a whole family of related disorders. And what do they all have in common? You guessed it, that core pattern of obsessions and compulsions.
Just look at this list. You can see how that same engine, obsession, compulsion, relief, can power all sorts of different vehicles. Whether it's an obsessive worry about a flaw in your appearance or an intense anxiety about throwing things away, the outward behavior is different, but the hidden cycle underneath, it's pretty much the same.
And get this, look at how common some of these are. Hoarding disorder could affect up to 6% of people. That means some of these related disorders are actually more common than OCD. It just goes to show you how widespread this basic brain pattern really is.
So what does this all mean for us? Well, it brings us back to where we started. The next time you hear someone casually say, "I'm so OCD," maybe you'll think about this hidden cycle. Because understanding that it's not about being neat, it's about being trapped in a loop of anxiety and relief, that changes everything. It gives us a little more empathy and a much clearer picture of what's really going on beneath the surface.